So, in my last video, I talked about Pokemon Emerald for over half an hour, and apparently I'm not done talking about it. But instead of taking an analytical look at the game, this time I'm doing something fun. I'm going to take one, and no offense, insignificant Pokemon, and see if I can beat the game with just that Pokemon and nothing else. Now, I know what you're thinking, Toronite, where did you think of such a brilliant idea? Well, it just came to me out of nowhere. Sometimes a spark of genius, a moment of total clarity just hits you with a truly unique idea. I dare say you may be seeing the first video of its kind right here, right now. Now, what Pokemon will I use?
Yeah, that checks out.
So why Dunsparce? Well, a couple of reasons. One, its stats, aside from HP, are pretty mediocre. Its attacking stats aren't great, its defenses are poor, and its speed is downright atrocious. Two, I am very curious to see how it plays early in the game, particularly with the first two gym leaders. However, Dunsparce possesses an uncanny trait not found in many Pokemon whose stats aren't particularly good. It can learn a ton of amazing moves later in the game, and I wonder, can those moves overcome such terrible stats and type disadvantages early in the game? So the rules of this challenge are pretty simple. You can only use Dunsparce in battle, nothing else. No items during battle. As far as using HMs are concerned, other Pokemon are allowed to be used so long as they don't participate in singles battles. Held items are allowed, so stuff like experience share, leftovers, berries, all of that is fair game. Enough wasting time, let's get right down to it. I start off my adventure without much issue, and it's my turn to name him. What legendary name shall I bestow upon him? What will be the name that creates fears in the hearts of men, women, children everywhere? Daryl. Perfect. One thing that I noticed immediately that's different about Dunsparce is that it doesn't know the move Tackle, but instead it knows Rage. This will be very important very soon. On its own, Rage is a weak move, but when Rage is used consecutively, Dunsparce's attack stat now increases by one stage each time it is damaged by an attack from its opponent. A Pokemon's Rage will now build even if the initial use of Rage misses or fails. That's going to be very important in the first gym. The thing about the first gym is that it's a rock type gym and every Pokemon there resists Rage, meaning every battle is going to be a war of attrition and a test of patience. But I encountered an unexpected roadblock, the PP in the move Rage. By this point of the game, I can only use Rage 20 times, which is not enough to beat Roxanne's team. In addition, I have to somehow find a way to stay alive because healing items are a no-go at this point in the adventure. My strategy for the longest time was to start the battle using Yawn to put my opponent to sleep and using Defense Curl to raise my defense, therefore limiting the damage I take so I can maximize Rage's potential power output while keeping myself alive. Even with that strategy, I still fail, time and time again. Since Daryl can't learn any moves that will do more damage, I was forced to power grind my way all the way up to friggin' level 21, and then, only then, was I able to finally beat Roxanne. Moving on to the second gym leader, Brawley, was also a struggle, but for completely different reasons. Unlike Roxanne's, Daryl's issue with Brawley won't be attacking it, but surviving long enough to beat Brawley's team. In case you didn't know, Brawley is a fighting type gym leader and all his Pokemon are capable of beating Daryl in 2-3 hits. That means I'm going to need a ton of luck in implementing my Yawn Defense Curl strategy. Of course, I fail again and again, even with the Sylph Scarf equipped, which was designed to make normal type moves stronger. Once again, I have to power grind. It finally took Daryl being level 27 to finally beat Brawley. That was a nightmare, but we're not out of the woods just yet. Mauville's gym is interesting because of one Pokemon Watson has, Magneton. Problem here is that Daryl doesn't have anything that can seriously hurt it, so I have a plan. Gambling. See, in the Mauville game corner you can get the TM for Flamethrower, which will really put a dent on Magneton because Magneton is a steel type. Unfortunately, I realized in the middle of exchanging money and for coins that I don't have enough money to afford Flamethrower. My plan was to just play in the game corner until I have enough coins, but before I did, I grinded some more, learned the move Takedown, and just for shits and giggles, decided to tackle the Mauville gym. See where I stand right now, fully expecting to lose. Except I didn't lose. I actually won. Takedown ended up being just strong enough to take out Magneton, and I didn't end up needing to use Flamethrower at all, wasting more than 20,000 Poké Dollars. But I'm okay with that, because we now officially have a run. The first 3 gyms were what really concerned me, and now that we got past them, I expect to not have too many problems from here on forward. Every fight for a good while is incredibly easy. Flannery, the Fire-type gym leader, goes down real easy thanks to a mix of Strength and Rock Tomb, which I got from Roxanne. Norman, your dad and normal-type gym leader, is tough, but if you're like me, you're already at a high enough level where the fight isn't as tough as Roxanne or Brawley. Just use the Yawn defense curl strategy from earlier and you should be fine, provided that you get lucky in the times that you don't get confused. It should be noted that fights against Team Magma, Team Aqua, your rivals, and basically every trainer out there are incredibly easy thanks to the Strength move getting a same type attack bonus and boost from the Silk Scarf, just because it's a normal type move. Winona, the Flying type gym leader, is usually a somewhat hard fight, but Rock Tomb and Strength easily take care of her. Now comes the next major roadblock, Tate and Liza. They have the unique gimmick of being the only gym leaders to have double battles, meaning I'm going to need a partner. There is no way around this. My partners in these attempts are either a Lanoon or a Pelipper that I use for HM moves. I try my best to make sure they don't do much in the fight, but given their low levels, they get taken out pretty easily, essentially making this fight a 2 versus 1 handicap match. By this point, I give Daryl Thunderbolt for some diversity in his move pool and for later fights. Given that Yawn and defense curl strategy won't be of much help in this fight, I decided to go guns blazing and get my ass kicked. Again and again and again. Well, back to grinding. However, by this point in the game, there's very little fighting wild Pokemon can do to raise Daryl's level quickly, so I only had one choice. Drop Daryl off to the daycare like the little baby that he is and just run my bike all over the area. And let me tell you, it was a lot of riding. I don't even want to speculate on how much time I spent riding my bike to level up Daryl. But needless to say, it took more than 20 levels for Daryl to be good enough to beat Tate and Liza on his own. And trust me, I needed every single level. Roxanne and Brawley were just tests of patience, but Tate and Liza in the preparation for those fights require my heart and soul just to be able to pull through on top. But somehow I managed to do it. I don't know how, but I actually did it. I go through the remainder of the main story, beating Archie without much problem, save the world, beat Juan the Water-type gym leader with a lot of Thunderbolts, and make my way up to Victory Road. Like most of the game, Victory Road was a pretty easy dungeon given how strong Daryl was, and honestly, I thought the Elite Four was going to be just as easy. Then I realized I'm an idiot because I missed on one very important detail about the Elite Four. Phoebe, the Ghost-type member of the Elite Four, has the team full of Ghost types, meaning Strength is out of the equation. Even more worrisome, however, is the fact that at the start of most fights, her Dusclops uses the move Curse. For those of you that don't know what that means, at the expense of half the user's HP, Curse inflicts damage equal to a quarter of the target's max HP after every turn. Given that Phoebe has 4 more Pokemon after the first Dusclops, it is mathematically impossible to beat Phoebe's team with Curse on and no items mid-battle. The only way I can beat Phoebe is if I can one-shot every member of her team just to make sure Curse is never used. Unfortunately, even at level 84, Daryl's moves aren't strong enough to get the job done. This is a result of Daryl's terrible stats I mentioned at the start of the video. I was fully prepared and nervous over the prospect of riding my bike again just to level up Daryl. But thank Arceus that for some unexplained reason, after like 8 failed attempts, Dusclops just forgets to do Curse. Seriously, I don't understand why it stopped doing that. It's completely baffling. On multiple occasions, after a while, Dusclops just doesn't use Curse at any point, leaving me open to beat her entire team with relative ease. Well, I'm not complaining. Thanks to divine intervention, I was able to finally beat Phoebe and subsequently beat Glacia without much trouble. Normally, I'd be pretty scared of Drake, the last of the Elite Four who uses dragons, but thanks to my sheer idiocy, the fight was a complete joke. Remember back in Mauville when I tried to get Flamethrower but stupidly wasted 20,000 Poké Dollars for nothing? What you may not know is that Mauville Game Corner also has the TM for Ice Beam, which is the bane of all Dragon-type Pokemon. And wouldn't you know it, I happen to just have enough money to exchange for coins to add on to the coins I previously got all the way back in the early stages of the run to barely afford Ice Beam. I teach Daryl Ice Beam and he easily beats Drake. With that out of the way, I take my victory lap because Wallace the champion has a team full of water types, which means a mix of Thunderbolt and Strength is more than enough to wipe out his entire team on the first try, and we finally become the new champion of Hoenn. Congratulations! We have successfully beaten Pokemon Emerald's main story with only one Dunsparce. I have to say, this was certainly an experience. I have never done this type of run before, and after seeing so many people try it out on YouTube, I wanted to give it a go. And before you ask, yes, I did try to make the fight against Steven possible, but he was way too tough. I'm pretty sure that at level 100 I might be able to beat Steven, but I'm not willing to make that journey riding my bike all the way to level 100. Nope. But regardless, I highly recommend anyone give this type of challenge a try. Dunsparce is a very bizarre Pokemon because its stats are pretty garbage, but its incredible move pool has shown me that it is well worth putting on your team, and the different combinations you can make with him based on those moves are staggeringly high. But now we make our trek back home and relish our new title as champion, sipping on some hot tea as we marvel at what we were able to accomplish with just one Dunsparce. I hope you guys liked this video. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Subscribe to my channel and check out my previous video analyzing Pokemon Emerald. I hope you like it. I'm Toronite and I'll see you in the next video.